Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with your In the Away End Opposition preview special. Make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are well on the way to 5,000 subs, so like, subscribe, get your comments in. And today I'm joined by Tyrone of the legendary podcast YouTube channel Never a Foul. Big Man United fan. How you doing, Tyrone?
Thank you so much for having me, Rich. First of all, make sure you do smash the like, make sure you subscribe. Rich is a great guy, so make sure you support the content. Honest views as well, always balanced conversation, so I love that. And obviously Never a Foul. Check it out on our way to 30k subscribers, live shows and video shows as well. I'm looking forward to talking about the game really and seeing what both of us think. And thanks for having me as always, Rich.
Top man. So let's dive into it because Manchester United. It's a never-ending soap opera, to be fair to you, mate. And no surprises this week. It's been up and down. Erik ten Hag in, Erik ten Hag out. It was 2 games to save his career. Got the draw yesterday. This is Friday that we're recording this, so got the draw yesterday against Porto. What is the situation at Manchester United?
To be fair, it's quite funny you say that because as we're recording it on Friday, I've just got back and there's going to be a meeting with the hierarchy on Tuesday, which has been confirmed by Laurie Whitehall, who's part of the Athletic, so that's very reliable, that source. So, that normally means the inevitable. If I'm honest with you, you don't really do that unless there's something going on or there's a few people in the camp that are not happy with what's actually going on at the club at the moment after the talks with Ten Hag to stay on in the summer. And look, I'm going to put my neck on the line and I'll stay consistent as I always have. I've been backing the manager. I've been actually wanting Ten Hag to stay in the job. And I've said, look, first year, overachieved for me. I said I wanted better football, top 6 finish. You got top 4, won a trophy, and the football was pretty good for 3/4 of the season. And I just feel since the Carabao Cup, we've just not been the same team. Defensively poor, open in midfield, which we're going to touch on when we link that to the Villa game. Not scoring enough goals either. So when you look at it back to front, there's not been consistency there. And if you want to be a top club, the main thing is you need to be consistent and watching your team, knowing what we're going to be doing. Last year was a failure of a season. I kind of expected that we wouldn't finish top 4 and I didn't think we'd do as good. And I warned people that and they thought I'd be bonkers because, naturally you want to see progression as a fan. But I said, look, how we performed in the first season was actually how I expected us to do in the second season. I thought, okay, first year will be a bit of a struggle, but in the second year we'll get top 4 and pick up and win a trophy. He's done it the other way around, and I said, look, it's 1-1 in seasons. This is the decider. It's like a boxing fight. You have 3 judges. It goes to a split decision. It's that way, and it's not worked out so far this season. He's got a lot of his players in. He's got a midfielder. He's got a striker. Obviously, he's had the goalkeepers. He's got the centre-backs in with Yoro and De Ligt. Mazraoui, who actually I think has been very solid in terms of his price fee as well. But there's just no consistency there where we're changing the 11 quite a bit. He's rotating the players such as Marcus Rashford, played really well last night against Porto, takes him off at half-time. Weren't sure about that. And I just feel like he's just trying to find a way to make it work at the moment. And I even said, this week's huge for him. Porto away, gets a draw, 2-0 up. That's Villa. That's Liverpool. That's Chelsea. I don't think they lose that game or draw that game. I think they go on and win it. We didn't do that. And this is not a Porto team that we know that's, in the Champions League and it's been formidable over the years. In Portugal, it's not like that. And we go to Villa now. And look, you guys are raring in confidence. You've just beaten Bayern. You're playing well. And it's either going to be one of them games where United dig out a random result under Ten Hag, or I think we're going to be swimming in the deep end and it could be nasty. And that's why I think this game's so interesting, because you just don't know what United's going to turn up. But overall, I've been disappointed this season. I do think people are quite harsh, ultimately, in terms of my sense of it is, Brighton, you get the goal with Xerxes and Garnacho where it comes off him, 1 in a million. I think we go on and win that game. We probably get a counter-attack 3-1. We win that. Palace, was our best first 60 minutes of the season. Didn't score. It was 0-0. Game finishes 0-0. Should have been 2-3-0 up. So I think there's two games there we should have won. Didn't. That's hypothetical. But overall, not been a great start to the season. Ten Hag's under pressure and the players are.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, really. And I saw them against Southampton, and I thought, they rode a little storm in the
First
first
20
half, but
minutes,
then,
mate.
yeah, but then looked solid and got the win. Obviously, got the first win of the season against Fulham.
Yep.
And it's difficult, isn't it? Because you think, well, like you said, a couple of moments here or there that go his way, and everyone's talking about a good start to the season. But that defeat to Tottenham and the pressure that was put on that game really did cement that kind of situation for him. But it's almost been the tale of Manchester United over the course of the last 18 months or so. It's like moments of magic. I say this with Aston Villa fans because that's what Steven Gerrard used to say. We need a moment of magic, and it's been like that where there's been no real clear strategy, no real clear structure in place for Man United, which I thought Ten Hag would bring in, and then it's usually been Bruno with a key moment, or Garnacho with a key moment, or McTominay last season.
Yeah,
and he seems to be running out of those players almost to be able to drag him out of it, and that's where it's falling.
And I think that's the key. When you look at Villa, you know what you're seeing every week. Whether you're going to win, lose, or draw, you know you're getting a consistent style of play or aggression or press or whatever it is. I think with us, I think that's where I'm most frustrated because I don't mind if Man United lose games. Look, of course I want to win every game, but I'm a realist. Like, I know we're not the best team in the country. I know we're going to suffer defeats and draws, but I think it's watching your team every week and seeing that you're right. You know what they're doing. You can see the vision. Win, lose, or draw, you can see what the patterns are, and it's improving. And I think the inconsistency and just relying on moments is what's actually grinded fans down, really, because performances haven't been great. Players look low on confidence. They don't kind of look like they know what they're doing. And then it all comes back down to the manager, in-game management. Can he actually... Because me as a person, by the way, like I work in sales as my proper job, but I'm a people's person, as you know. I like motivating people. I like being the deep as a person, getting into things and stuff. And I feel like if I was in the changing rooms, I could really galvanize them and try and get an extra 5%, 10%. I look at Ten Hag, and I think this year is where I've realized it more. Of course, he can't help that he's not English, but I think the broken English can be a struggle. Does he really motivate them in the toughest of times? You've brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy. Now, look, I know he's been a great player for us over the years, back when I was a child, and I did watch him, of course, back then. But, he's only had a year at PSV. How much experience has he really got? How much is he involved in sort of the setup? And it's just... At the moment, you just look, it could be a win against Villa, but then we could go and lose against Brentford. And that's not what we really want because I think fans are looking at it now and saying, look, right, we don't mind losing games, but we want to see stability. We want to see a trajectory where it's upwards. If we keep Ten Hag, it might be 2 losses, then, 3 wins, then 2 losses. There's no sort of, it's just getting better consistently. And I think that's where fans have got sick of it now. And where I'm at the point now where I'm like, is it worth keeping him? Because can I see us actually really improving and being consistent and doing what you guys are doing with Unai Emery, where he's changed it over the last 18, 20 months? I don't. And it's a big week. And like I said, when the board are coming down for a meeting now on Tuesday, it normally only means one thing. And it's a shame because, like you said, from an outsider's perspective, you thought Ten Hag was the guy. And like, look, we've had Sir Alex Ferguson, and since then it's been 11 years. We've had Mourinho come in. I'm not a fan of Mourinho. I didn't want him. Louis van Gaal came in. He tried. We had patterns at times, and it just didn't work out. Oli was more sentiment. He gave the players, as everyone says, good vibes, but then when it got gritty, it didn't work out. Out of all the managers, I was really behind Ten Hag. It was like Ten Hag or Poch. And I'd say 90% of the fan base wanted Ten Hag. It's the first manager where all the fans were aligned of like, yeah, we really want him. We've seen what he's done at Ajax. He's younger. He's got a good style of play. And unfortunately, it's just really not worked out. And like, it's a shame because I've been really behind him. I was so excited, Rich.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, as a football fan, you just feel like it's coming to an end. The ideas are running out now and results speak volumes. And it is a results business, unfortunately.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And it's funny, isn't it? Because 2 of the big moments or 2 of the big games that he had last season were against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And he managed to get a couple of results where
Yeah.
Villa were 2-0 up at Old Trafford. He gets back to 3-2. That was a real rousing second half performance.
Mm.
And then McTominay with a key goal last season in that when you beat Villa 2-1. So going into this game on Sunday, even as a Villa fan with the result that we got on Wednesday against Bayern Munich, which is incredible, every Aston Villa fan is going into this game on Sunday like, any other team would be like, yes, we're going into that game, we're going to get the result. But there's so much of this feeling that
psychological thing, isn't
Manchester United are going to pull a result out from somewhere. So is that a little bit of heart that you're taking into this weekend that you've got Aston Villa and you've always got to win?
It is. I think as a Man United fan, you're always going to believe you can win any game. And I do think, obviously, at moments, Bruno, Rashford, they can come up with big moments. We have got some good players. Obviously, they're not performing so much in terms of like Lissandro and De Ligt at the moment at the back. But, we've got Ahmad, technically very secure. I really like Ahmad, and I hope he can continue to progress. But, this is Man United. The fact that we went 2-0 up against Porto last night just shows you that we can do them random things. And then we can concede 2 in the space of 10 minutes. Whereas you guys are more structured, and I think the game's going to be interesting how it sets up. Are you guys going to be on the front foot, or are you going to be playing more counter-attacking and we're going to dominate the ball, or are we going to sit back, allow Villa to have the ball, which I don't think is maybe suited to more your style of players, and then we're going to try and counter-attack you? I think it's just one of them games where I can see as a Villa fan why you're like, you could win 3-0, or it could be 2-2. It is one of them games. And that's not disrespecting Villa, by the way. I really rate Villa. But in terms of, like you said, it's the psychological side, and we are Man United. And also, look, the manager's job's on the line. They need to really perform now because, otherwise he could be gone in the midweek. So I look at it and I look at Villa. And it's funny enough you say that, Rich. If you asked me at the start of the season, I actually thought Villa were going to drop off. I know you had an all right window. Jadon Philogene came back. And obviously you got Morgan Rogers in properly now and everything like that. I looked at it and I was like, Ian Maatsen, good signing, by the way. I think he'll become your number one left back. I was like, do you know what? With the Champions League, I expected Villa to maybe do what Newcastle done last year and just not be quite ready yet. And look, I respect what you done last year. Great club. I love your fan base. You've been you used to even host the semi-finals of the FA Cup. But I just thought, do you know what? It might just be a bit too early. But you've got Unai Emery. He loves managing, in Europe. He knows how to do these competitions. And the players just seem to be all buying into it. And I just think, do you know what? It might be your time this weekend to really just dominate and go for us and take us to the sword. I think if you guys play with the confidence and verve that you have done and believe that you can go and win this game, I think you will, because I think mentally your players are really up for it, whereas us just look very dejected. And I'm quite worried going into this game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Villa have had a really good start, and I think most Villa fans would have been in your camp at the start of the season. A little bit of anticipation, excitement, trepidation of yes, we've got Champions League, we've added to the squad, but were we a couple of players short in a couple of areas? Striker, right back, maybe even centre back because Tyrone Mings is on his way back, but how good is he going to be? So a few Villa fans were like that, but we've seen that the emergence of John Duran, Ian Maatsen coming off the bench, Ross Barkley doing so well when he comes on, Amadou Onana, the start that he's made. So we have got a really good squad. But that being said, the teams that we've beaten, or obviously we got a disappointing draw against Ipswich, who did play very well actually, but we lost to Arsenal. So the teams that we've beaten, we've all due respect,
but then again,
were teams that we should.
The game you should have won.
Yes. So Man United is probably a game where we're coming up against a team that, if we are to finish in that top four or to really challenge for the top four, we need to get a result in that, because that will show that we're not kind of suffering with operating on all fronts. So this is a really important game for Aston Villa, and obviously an important game for Manchester United for probably very different reasons. How do you think United approach it in terms of tactically? What do you think they will do?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I think it's very tricky. I see Agate and Kobe coming back into the midfield. And I see Bruno playing in.
Is Manu fit?
Yeah. I think Manu will be back. And then considering Bruno can obviously play now. I think he'll play in the 10. I would like to go with Ahmad on the right for the technical security, Rashford on the left. And I think he might keep Højlund in with his confidence of his goal against Porto. And he's a bit more hustle and bustle. I think you guys are physical, obviously, with Diego Carlos. Obviously, I know Pau Torres is more of a ball-playing centre-back, but I think he's got the height as well. I think we might go Højlund. And I think Højlund did score at Villa Park last year, or he missed... Yeah, I think he may have, or he missed a couple
He
big
scored,
chances.
yeah, and he scored at Old Trafford as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so, horses for courses. Styles make fights. Maybe he's ready to play Villa after getting a start against Porto. But I just don't know if myself, I feel like Man United can impose themselves or we play counter-attack. I think I'd prefer us to stay more compact and try and hit Villa maybe on transition. Because I feel like if you have most of the ball, I think Villa are good still, of course, but I don't think you're as effective. Whereas if we allow you to, let us dominate the ball and you hit us in transition, Jacob Ramsey, ball carrier, he can carry the ball up the pitch. I know his final product isn't quite there yet, but he can ball carry. Morgan Rogers, what a player. He's starting to add goals to his game at the moment. He's getting assists. But again, you saw against Arsenal, can take the game by the scruff of the neck in the middle of the park. I think Man United's big problem at the moment has been the gaps in the middle of the midfield. Now, if we try and dominate and control the game, if you pinch the ball back, I'm worried what you can do with Watkins and going back the other way. So I'd rather us stay compact, try and keep it tight. And the same way you go to Anfield and Etihad, you always say, get through the first 20 minutes. Just get through the first 20 minutes and the game becomes a game. Atmosphere gets a bit stifled. So I'd like to see us more be compact, try and allow you lot to try and break us down and sit a bit more deeper and hit you in transition, because I just feel like if we do go on the front foot and dominate, I think that actually plays into Jacob Ramsey, Morgan Rogers, Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins, players that can hit hard in transition, ball carry and break lines, because our midfield unfortunately hasn't quite got the legs and it hasn't had the legs for a few years now. So I want to go with more of a counter-attack approach, trying to say, Villa, you break us down and make it tough, dogged, because I think if it's open, yeah, your ball carriers are going to run for our midfield. And that's my biggest worry. I think it's the midfield battle. And if we allow you guys to have the ball, I think it makes it a bit more harder. If we try and play open, yeah, the transition is going to kill.
Yeah, it's a great point, because Villa have been a little bit open in midfield at times because of that. Because of that, we've got Bailey and Rogers and Ramsey and Watkins. Tielemans likes to, pass the ball quickly through midfield. Onana's just getting used to the system. So we've been a little bit open at times. Then you've got maybe Konsa operating at right back. He had a great game on Wednesday night, but he wasn't brilliant against Ipswich. So that's where they hurt us. So in transition, you talk about some of the attacking players you've got. It's still a pretty decent forward line. Ahmad, Rashford, and Højlund is still,
and Bruno
good,
behind,
so,
and obviously, if we give you the ball, and like Ipswich as well, like perfect example, the Delap goal hits you in transition. Running down the left hand side, step over, does Carlos. That is where I think you can try and get at Aston Villa. And you're right, with the players like Ahmad, Rashford, Bruno, and Højlund, it's an attack that is a transition attack. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but with that in mind, like you said, who out of the Villa side, you've mentioned sort of Morgan Rogers. Ramsey might not be fit, so that might be a little bit of a touch of good luck for you guys. Bailey might not be fit as well. But who's the kind of player that's striking most fear into you, that you've been most impressed with, or players that you've been most impressed with in the Villa side?
I know Rodgers is the obvious one, and he surprised me this year. Obviously, I followed the Championship as well, but he's really come alive in the Prem, and it suits him, and he's only getting better. And what I like about him as well, he's so robust, playing game after game after game. I know he come off after 60 against Ipswich, so he seems to try and be managing him now. But yeah, I think he just gives you something different behind Watkins, and I think he's going to be the big threat. And I also think Watkins against a defence that's lacking confidence. Will it be Johnny Evans and Maguire coming in? Will it be Martinez and De Ligt? Watkins runs the channels. He works hard. He's a team player. He's not going to give you an ounce of, time on the ball. And I think, that's going to be a big threat. And also, I actually think Onana from set pieces, funny enough. I don't think we're the strongest from them at the moment, and I do think that he's been a very useful weapon in that. People underestimate how good, set pieces are. Rich, me and you're a bit older. I know you're a bit older than me, but look, back in the day, a standard 4-4-2, Duncan Ferguson, whoever's Dion Dublin's, whatever it is,
I remember
Drogba.
when Everton. I remember when Everton used to celebrate getting a corner because
Yeah,
they knew
you know
Duncan
what I mean? Yeah,
Ferguson was in the
John
box.
Stones could celebrate getting a throw in with Rory Delap. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And you know that's gone out of the game a bit with the modern football, but actually it's such a useful weapon, and we're seeing
yeah.
Arsenal now
Arsenal.
become
Yeah.
such a dominant team with set pieces, and if that can get you a goal or two, perfect. And we've seen your clever set play against West Ham first game of the season. We've seen your one against Leicester where it cuts back to Anana, he taps it in. So I think set pieces. Anana's going to be a threat, and I think more, yeah, Watkins and Rogers and their link in transition because at the moment our midfield link to defence is not quite great. And if you've got two players that can expose it, it's going to be Rogers and Watkins, really. Who do you fear from the Man United side going into the game?
Well, I was almost jumping for joy when Bruno got his red card because I just. But then when he got it overturned, because he always generally scores against Villa, so when he got it overturned, I was like, he is bound to get a free kick, a
Do
penalty,
something, mate.
or yeah, or come up with a crucial moment. So Bruno is one, and I mean, like I say, you've gone through that forward line. I really like Ahmad. I think he's a very, very good player. But Garnacho, if he comes off the bench, he's always tended to cause us a few
That's where
problems
he's
like that.
better, though, Rich.
Yeah,
He's better off the bench. When he starts games, physically, he can't quite get into it, but off the bench,
yeah.
good weapon.
Because that
Yeah.
second half against you lot last season at Old Trafford, I think he was the catalyst for kind of changing that game, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So, look, if you guys get ahead of steam, and as you say, stay in the game. There's always a player that can pop up with something. Rashford's done it year in, year out. Bruno can do it. Højlund can maybe be a fox in the box with a certain situation. If Maguire is playing a set piece, you saw it last night. So you've got players who can come up with the big moments at big times. Where I see Villa maybe getting on top is, as you said there, if we can get off to a good start and take the momentum from Wednesday. If we get an early goal, I think the heads for Man United drop, and I think that's where Villa could
get
maybe
nasty.
take
It could get
advantage.
nasty. Yeah, it could get
Yeah,
nasty. And I think that's what I'm worried about. Getting through that first 20 minutes, staying compact. We've got to, because at the end of the day, there's still 70 minutes left of the game. You'll get chances. Any team. It doesn't matter, home or away, Ipswich, Villa, City, Brentford, whoever it is. A team's going to get chances. 11 humans on the pitch, and we've just got to know that we've got to be patient and try and get them moments. I think where we lack is that if we do take the lead, how robust can we be? The Villa Park crowd start getting going. It's a 2:00 on a Sunday TV game. If you get one, it could easily be 2 and 3, and that's what I don't like about Man United: the fragility of our team. Whereas you lot are actually very compact when you need to be. You're robust. You're fighting for each other, and it makes a big difference. Where would you say? So if we obviously you look at Man United, and you said it already. If you get one, you think you can quickly get two. If you look at your own Villa team, where are you like? Oh, do you know what? I'm unsure about this, or I wish we can improve this. Like, where would you see United trying to exploit?
It has to be the kind of Carlos and Konza
Yeah,
that right channel. It has to be that. Not
yeah,
that they both had brilliant games against Bayern Munich, and he's a funny one, Diego Carlos, because if he's up front with against a key man like a Haaland or a Kane or someone like that, and you give him like a specific job to do and say just stop him from playing, he will do
yeah,
it, and he's
yeah.
been brilliant at marking players out of the game. But if you give him a Højlund, for example, or Liam Delap, who he didn't really know a lot about, he
Yeah,
struggles because if the
agile
players
and
who run
mobile
off him,
forward. I actually think he
yeah,
struggles at mobile forwards. Yeah,
yeah. So that's where we could struggle. And times Amadou Onana is getting used to the style of play, but sometimes he can be a little bit kind of out of position at times. He maybe ball watches a little bit at
yeah,
times.
yeah.
So you could maybe see Bruno getting behind him
Okay.
and picking up space. But
Mm.
if like I think you've pointed out, if you allow us to play quick passes, what's
Through
really
the
impressed
lines.
me
It's
about
through the
Villa
lines,
is,
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
is when they win the ball, they don't just boot it into the channels or boot it into Rosette or anything like that. Not that any teams really do that anymore, but they play quick passes, and then all of a sudden Morgan Rogers has got it on the half turn and he's going,
Yeah.
or Luca Dean's got it on the left, or
Yeah.
Matson or Watkins is running into the channels, and that's where we've really caused teams some damage, and we've got the secret weapon, or not so secret weapon, of John Duran, who is just incredible at the minute.
Yeah, he surprised me as well. Like, obviously he's got potential, and I know he's young and everything. And it's not. I don't think he's a good striker. I don't think he's a bad striker. It's kind of like, let's see what happens with him. But I think he's one of them players at the moment where when you start him, he won't be as effective. So like, you don't want Watkins getting injured for 2 months, because as much as Duran's getting the hype, and I appreciate what he's doing, I don't think he's good enough to lead the line yet. But bringing him on with 20 minutes to go and having that ability to still get in behind, be good in the air as well, and also drop into the pockets if he needs to. A great, like the perfect weapon to have in the Premier League. I just think at the moment, he's on a great run of form, and I think Villa need to use him for what he's good at. And he might not like it because he wants to start games, but I think he's just better coming off the bench, because I think if you started him, the impact won't be as effective.
Yeah,
and that's nothing against him. I just think there's
what I mean. Yeah, I totally agree. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we go, I have to trouble you for a score prediction for Sunday. So, what are you saying for score and scorers?
Heart says 2-2, head says 3-1 Villa. Like, if I have to be completely honest, the way you are in form at the moment, the way we're not, and like I said, the meeting next week scheduled for Ten Hag, it just kind of feels like other players are really going to give that 100%. And you're coming off a win against Bayern. You've only lost against Arsenal, which I think a game you should have won. And, your fans are going to be really up for it. So, if you're ever going to beat United and, get a comfortable win, or a win where you're like, you know what, we've actually dominated United, it's this Sunday. I don't think you'll get a better opportunity, like you said, over the years than this weekend. But it's Man United, and I'm always going to have that slight belief, because you never know. But honestly, it's crazy that I'm just sitting here casually saying, 3-1 Villa, because it shouldn't be like that. But that's the story of it right now.
Yeah, I was actually going to say 3-1. Villa don't keep clean sheets.
I thought you were going to say 3-1 United then.
No. 3-1 Villa, 3-1 Villa. But we don't keep clean sheets, so you will get a goal. But I do think that the kind of momentum from Wednesday night, the crowd will be with the team.
Extra days rest as well, playing at home.
Exactly. Yeah, extra days rest. So I think they'll get an early goal, and I think Watkins scores. I think Rodgers I think Rodgers is on good form at the moment, and I think Duran will come on and get his inevitable goal.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a good game nonetheless.
Exactly, It's going to be a really good game. I'm really looking forward to it. And do you know what? Respect to Aston Villa as well, because Unai Emery's come in and done his thing. You guys deserve what you're getting at the moment. The fans are great. And just enjoy the ride, because as you know, football can change really quick. And I know that obviously you've seen the highs and lows of football in general. And I just think, enjoy it while you can. Not saying it won't last forever, but of course, every team has their dips and stuff. And I just think, you guys just need to, enjoy it. And it's great for your community up there and stuff, man.
Great stuff, mate. Absolute pleasure having you on. Great to see you again.
You.
Shout out your channel. Shout out where people can find you.
Yeah, so guys, make sure you do like and subscribe to Villa Park Pod. Make sure you do smash a like; it really helps Rich's channel reach the next chapter, which is hopefully the 5K. For our content, you can find it on Never a Foul. I do a lot of the video, which is the video uploads, and then we have other guys as well that do the live content. We always have something going up every day. Normally top 6 stuff as well. So guys, make sure you check it out on the way to 30K, and make sure you like this video. And Rich, thanks ever so much for having me as always.
Brilliant, mate. Well, good luck for Sunday.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too much luck, but a great best of luck for the rest of the season.
Contentious VAR. The best team win.
No contentious VAR. No dodgy Bruno decision or anything like that as well. We'll be back later on this week with a full match preview with the lads live, and then obviously instant match reactions and all sorts of shows coming up next week for international break. But we've got to keep it interesting for you, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us on the road to 5K. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.